exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
Happy Friday. I am Nikki Medoro. This is the Nikki Medoro Show. Thank you all so much for joining me. I apologize that I'm a little late, but I was doing something special, and it's for our Friday food segment. And if you are part of the Cool Club, and by that, of course, I mean, if you donate to our Patreon, which you can, of course, by going to the Nikki Medoro Show, you're going to get a little bit of a treat for the Friday food segment. It's live. It's up there now. That's why I was a bit behind. Thankfully, I remembered to even do all the background for the show today. It's been a fabulous day, and I'm very excited to show this video. So every one of our Patreon subscribers is able to check out this video. Don't go right now. We're watching the show right now, but it's there for you. In about a half an hour, I will do the Friday food segment. I will show off what I made just special for all of you. And so that's coming up on the show. Of course, as we like to start the show, click that thumbs up button. It really helps us out. YouTube loves it as well. So thank you to everybody. Yes. And of course, I love people that remind me. Also PayPal. If you like PayPal, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. You can donate any amount you want to. Please do. We absolutely love it. I received the most rude email this morning that was trying to bring my ass down. And I just was like, you know what? I love our community. And if this person lets me have some space in their brain, that's fine with me, because I love all of the support I'm getting from all of you. And I just want to say I appreciate it. I love it. And we're going to have a great show today. So of course we are going to be talking about January 6th. It is a somber anniversary. President Biden was still giving some speeches. You know what? I wonder if I could show this to you, because he seems to be getting fiery right now. Let me see if I could share the screen. And I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, let's go to this right now. Here, let's listen.
And their representatives. Lieutenant Commander Shields, would you come and please read the citations?
Now, this, of course, is honoring those that, basically saved our democracy on January 6th.
The Presidential Citizens Medal recipients: Jocelyn Benson, Jocelyn Benson was elected twice by the people of Michigan as their Secretary of State, where she continues her steadfast commitment to protect the right to vote and the integrity of our elections in the state of Michigan. In 2020, she administered an election with record turnout and certified the results in the face of unprecedented pressure and threats, including armed protesters outside her home. We, the people, honor the undaunted and unflinching Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, who continues her exemplary public service to advance free and fair elections in our nation.
I mean, I don't want to take too much of it, but I definitely wanted to dip into it and honor those that did what needed to be done, especially today. And of course, in a little bit, we will update Kevin McCarthy. He's gaining momentum. He is. Paul Gosar. I think I saw somebody in the comment who's caved. Paul Gosar. So I'll show you a video of him caving. It's quite funny. So yeah, we'll touch on that. Governor Newsom led a march to the Capitol in Sacramento today, not only to mark January 6th, but to officially kind of start his second term. Of course, it officially started on Monday, but we will touch on that as well. Pete Buttigieg was making quite the comment, clap back at Brett Baer on Fox News. I just love that. We will update the Damar Hamlin good news. Again, we will have a Friday food segment, and then we'll get into some celebrity news toward the end of the show because I like to end Fridays on an up note. This is not an up note. Before we get more to January 6th, I saw this headline. My husband and I are looking at some rentals, just kind of always looking and seeing what we have out there. California ranks 3rd worst for renters. I don't know if that makes me feel good or bad. You guys want to tell me in the text, if anybody wants to, if you rent, how much do you pay a month? And if you don't mind, like, where do you live in the Bay Area? If you live in the Bay Area, or if you don't live in the Bay Area, if you live out of California, out of this area, how much do you pay for rent? What do you pay every single month? And if you also want to add it, what is the percentage of your gross income? Because it's supposed to be what, 30% you're supposed to spend on housing. We're about there. I try to, but what are you spending? I love Neiman too much. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Nick's going to start us off. 1,100 in Merced. Okay, is that a house, an apartment? 1,100. That's not too bad. Wes in Orlando, 2-bedroom apartment is about 2,300 to 2,500. Okay. Whoo. Neiman, $3,000 for a 1-bedroom in Foster City. $3,000 for a 1-bedroom in Foster City. Oh my God, that's way too much. So Nick said 1,000 in Merced and then updated it to say it's a crappy 1-bedroom apartment. Jeez. 1-bedroom, John's like a shed. 3,200 for a 2-bedroom in South County. All right, so in California, renting had hit $1,750 a month median cost in 2021. Only Hawaii was higher at $1,774. After California came DC at $1,668, Colorado $1,491, and Massachusetts at $1,487. But California tenants suffered the 6th biggest rent cost inflation between 2016 and 2021, up 27%. So who wants to guess which 2 states are worse for renters than California? Any guesses? 2 states. Don't Google it either. I love this. I love the computers. What 2 states are worse than California when it comes to rent? While you guys are putting in your thing, I'm going to go down some of these other rents. $1,100 for a porta potty in Marin. You're funny, John. $1,500 for a 2-bedroom in Chico, which seems like a lot to me. I thought Chico was supposed to be a little more manageable than that. Well, Susan, I lost your first one, so I don't know. Said 1,800. Flo, 3,500 for a 2-bedroom in Campbell. 3,500 for a 2-bedroom in Campbell. It's hard to make ends meet, but we're doing our best. We love our place, though. Campbell's nice, isn't it, Flo? It is nice. And you know what I'll say about Campbell in certain areas, especially if you live in the city or something like that. Campbell, I mean, depending on where you work, Flo, and I don't know where you work, it's very walkable. And it just seems to be growing in Campbell, right? I mean, there's shops everywhere. There's small businesses everywhere. It's a really, really cute town. Let's see. Lisa writes in 1,400 in Richmond, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but I'm grandfathered in. Let's see. The average rent for an apartment in Honolulu, 2,200. Karen Cooper writes in. All right, so let's go through some of these guesses. Some of you are saying New York. I'm getting a lot of New York. Colorado and one more. Nope. A lot of New Yorks. Nope. Washington, Neiman says, nope. A lot of you are saying New York. Surprisingly, no. This is a good point from John Smith when I was talking about Chico, that they had the migration from Paradise. That's an excellent point. Let's see. Jim Slayton, 2,400 for, I'm assuming that's just a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, I guess. 2,400 people. I don't think it's 2,400 people. Lori, Redwood City, 2,750 plus started charging for water, garbage, etc. about $150, so almost $3,000 for a 1-bedroom with 40-year-old carpet and at least a 30-year-old oven. Ooh. Oh, $1,800 for a 1-bedroom in Alamo in San Francisco. Okay. Trevor in Concord, a 2-bedroom house, $2,800. A house, $2,800. I know in other parts of the country that's terrible, but that seems pretty good. Is it a good neighborhood in Concord? I'm not quite sure. Armando's guessing New York and Hawaii. No, nobody has even chosen one of the states that are worse for renters than California. Let's see, $2,600 for a 2-bedroom in Petaluma. My friend just moved in with a shared yard. Let's see. Nikki, most people I know pay about $1,000 per bedroom. I have a friend who basically rents a large tough shed with a toilet in Santa Rosa for $1,200 a month. I remember, and I think I've told this story before, my first apartment, $500. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. I paid $500. My roommate paid $500. You can't find anything like that. All right, let's see. Oh, we got one winner, John Smith. Arizona is one of the states that is worse for renters than California. Arizona is absolutely correct. So that's one. What's the other one? Michelle saying Oregon. Nope. DC. Nope. Austin, Texas. No. Massachusetts. Nope. Texas. Nope. Tennessee and Arizona. It's not Tennessee and Arizona. Florida. Nope. Let's see if anybody's going to get it. Yeah. Yay for John. But yeah, Georgia. No. Idaho. That's a good guess, but no, you're getting warmer. All right, I'll tell you. The 2 states worse for renters than California are Arizona and Nevada, which makes sense. And let's welcome Kim McAllister to the show. Happy Friday, Kim.
Hey, happy Friday to you. Hi.
So we're talking about, we're going to get to January 6th and everything in a moment, but the headline that I was reading today, where there were 2 states that are worse for renters than California, which as a Californian, I'm going to take that as good news, right? We're not the worst, but the 2 worst are Nevada and Arizona, which are right next to California. So it makes sense. It's people trying to escape. And so what's happening? California's housing prices are obviously sky high. So people are escaping, which means they're going to go there, which means their housing prices to buy are going up.
Right.
What happens? People can't afford to buy. So what do? They rent. And then what happens to the rental prices? See?
Yep.
So it's all, but we'll get blamed for all of it, right? Oh, you're Californian up
Them Californians coming to our state and making it more expensive.
They'll take the money to sell the houses. You love the property values, don't you, homeowners in other states? But yeah, Nevada and Arizona. And let me see if it's the worst. So Arizona's 50th and Nevada's 51st. So, and then let's see, Oregon, which is on the other side, they're 34th worst. They rank 34th and we rank 49th. So yeah, if you're
we
looking
only rank 49th, who's 50th?
50th is Arizona and 51 is, because they're counting DC, of course, is Nevada. So let's see the best. Let's see. I'm trying to find number one. Number one. What is the best place for renters? The number one place at the top. And let me see if I can find some details to give you a hint. Let's see. So let's see. They've only grown. Okay, here's the monthly. In 2021, the monthly rent was, I'd love it, $839. What state is number one best bargain for renters? With
Missouri.
Not Missouri. Kind of
Nebraska, Iowa.
Any guesses? South Alabama? No. Tennessee? No. The South? Not the South.
Oh.
Nope. The number one bargain, West Virginia? No. The number one bargain is North Dakota.
Oh.
I wouldn't want to live in North Dakota though. Not knocking people from North Dakota. It's just my body is not made for North Dakota weather.
It's really cold there, right?
It's very cold.
Extra snowy. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. So but they have let's look at the density. They have 1.97 people per rental. So I mean they're pretty much a home for every person that's in North Dakota. And I don't even know what their population is off the top of my head, but there you go. If you can handle the weather, if you can handle the cold, go to North Dakota, but do not go to Nevada or to Arizona. Fargo. Yeah, exactly. No, 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 no. All right. So let's get into a bit of January 6th before we brought you on, Kim. And let me see if he's still speaking. I don't think he's speaking anymore. No. President Biden was marking the anniversary of January 6th. And, it's one of those things where you remember where you were, you remember what you were doing, whether you were watching it on TV, whether you were getting the alerts on your phone, you remember. It was a day that none of us will soon forget. Midas Touch. They're like one of these, they produce content. Anyway, they put this video together and I want to show it to you about what happened that day, told by the people and the heroes who were there. And I wanted to play this to you in light of course, President Biden honoring those that not only upheld our democracy at the Capitol on January 6th, but was protecting our elections, our fair elections. So let's watch this video. Again, this is by Midas Touch.
I'm proud of the officers I worked with on January 6th. They fought extremely hard.
Our worst nightmare really come true, an attack on American democracy right here in the nation's capital.
I experienced the most brutal, savage, hand-to-hand combat of my entire life.
I received chemical burns to my face that still have not healed to this day.
I just remember people still swinging metal poles at us, and they were pushing and shoving. They were spraying us with, bear mace and pepper spray.
They were all shouting at us, calling us traitors.
It's been very difficult seeing elected officials and other individuals whitewash the events of that day or downplay what happened.
As an American and as an Army veteran, it's sad to see us attacked by our fellow citizens.
Midas Touch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're muted, honey. Honey love.
You would have, and you're echoey. You would have thought that there was no kind of whitewashing of that day, right? You would have thought that because it was blasted on national television, especially, there wouldn't have been any question of what happened. And yet there still are, right? There are still people that thought, the election was stolen, that it was just, some people on a tour, right?
Yeah.
But there was something that was fundamentally wrong that happened that happened on that day 2 years ago. Former Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund is out with a book. Now, he's been a bit of a controversial figure. He was the first person ousted over the security failures. He has come under criticism from other cops, including Michael Fanone, the Metropolitan Police Department officer who you saw in that video by Midas Touch. Fanone kind of allegedly, apparently scoffed at the idea of Sund writing a book, which is why Sund's kind of on this tour. He said, the reality is that the United States Capitol Police as an agency was an absolute and utter effing failure. But the DC deputy mayor who was on that day's conversations with the command center says that Sund's depiction of what they called for and what they did not receive, it's true. So let me play you a little bit of an interview that Sund recently gave. Here he is.
So I had to get on a call with the Pentagon and plead repeatedly for the support of the National Guard, only to find, unbeknownst, because people have to realize that when the police department runs out of resources and we're overwhelmed, when we dial 911, who do we call? We call the Department of Defense. We call the National Guard. They're our backstop in getting help. So I put out that call only to find out there was delay after delay after delay. What I hadn't realized is just 2 days earlier, the Secretary of Defense had put out this memo restricting the resources that my men and women so greatly needed on January 6th for an attack that I now believe they knew was coming because they'd talked about it. They had talked about it in meetings. They were so concerned. They were talking about locking down the city. Yet he goes and puts these restrictions on the resources I needed and never tells anybody, never tells the very people that are going to call 911. So at 2:34, I'm pleading for their assistance and have to wait till 5:44 p.m. for them to arrive on the scene. When, think about the absurdity. They're within 2 miles of the Capitol, over 150 of them with all their riot gear, and they won't even move to help my men and women. I respect the military. I come from a military family. The people in the field, those that are willing to tell the truth, I highly respect. The people that decided not to send them to help my men and women that we needed support badly, I can't even question why. I can't even understand why they didn't send the help I needed.
And when you hear him speak like that, I mean, there has been documented that, there was not enough of a response from the National Guard. Some people have put it on Trump. Trump tried to put it on Nancy Pelosi. Obviously there are some that think that some people within either the Capitol Police or even the National Guard wanted it to happen. But these are the things that still need to be addressed, because I am positive that there are still people working at the Capitol who may still believe the election's stolen and that January 6th needed to happen. I know there are certainly people in Congress who believe that. And so that's why when we're watching what's happening with the House Speaker nonsense with Kevin McCarthy, and we have these never Kevin people who, on one hand, I'm enjoying watching because I don't like Kevin McCarthy, but on the other hand, who these people fundamentally are, what they stand for, what they believe is scary, because they are still holding positions of power. House Democrats and one Republican paused for a brief emotional ceremony to mark the second anniversary. Obviously to honor those like Capitol Police officers Brian Sicknick and Howard Liebengood, and Metropolitan Police officers Jeffrey Smith, Gunther Hashida, and Kyle DeFreytag. The family of Billy Evans, who you'll remember was killed after a man rammed into the barricades and drew a knife on officers, was also present. His name was read aloud by his two sons. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick was the only Republican in attendance. What does that tell you about the Republican Party? That only one of them, only one, showed up to mark this day. That's ridiculous. And they should be ashamed of themselves. They should absolutely be ashamed. We will get into Kevin McCarthy's momentum, apparently. Also, Matt Gaetz has said he's going to resign.
Bye-bye.
He will resign if one thing happens. Now, oh, please, right?
Don't
Please.
let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Sayonara, sucker.
Sayonara, sucker. But just I want to play you one more video. We'll because I think it's important to really recognize that there are people, politicians in Washington, that are part of the problem that we saw on January 6th.
MAGA extremists have taken over the Republican Party, and in his bid for power, leader Kevin McCarthy has capitulated to the most radical members of his own party. McCarthy and other elected officials must show their courage and forcefully call out the violent rhetoric and tactics and the dangerous election denialism of their colleagues, not bolster them in short-sighted attempts to retain their own thirst for power.
Exactly. And that's the point. There is a Capitol rioter by the name of Derek Evans. He's a former West Virginia state lawmaker. I have a picture of him if you want to know what this dude looks like. Oh, did I not pull it? Oh, no, that's videos. Hold on. So he is running for office. So here's his political picture. Look at the nice
Cute
family, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is him on January 6th.
Oh.
Yeah. He was part of the rioters. He is going to run for Congress. Of course he is. He's going to run in West Virginia's 1st district, which is currently held by a Republican, Carol Miller, who has not said whether or not she's going to run for re-election. This is what he wrote announcing his campaign. Today, January 6th, is a day to celebrate. But for me, that hasn't always been the case. Just last year, it was a personal day of reflection, thinking about my fellow J6ers and the miscarriage of justice at the hands of our government, fear over my pending prison sentence, scared to miss precious time with my family. But despite that uncertainty, my resolve never waned. I knew I was put on this earth to serve the people of West Virginia. 1 month ago, I came to you with my story, launched an exploratory, blah, blah, blah. He says, 2 years ago today, I boarded a passenger bus to Washington, D.C. The goal, protect our democracy. If you told me what would happen next, I never would have believed you. I was inside the Capitol for 10 minutes. I spoke with a Capitol police officer and thanked him for his service. I was nowhere near the Senate chambers. I was nowhere near the chaos. The moments that followed changed my life and shaped me into the man I am today. Does that look like the face of somebody who did not know what he was getting into? Why are you wearing a helmet? Why are you wearing a helmet?
Why were you
into
inside the Capitol for 10 minutes? Why were
when
you
you
inside?
saw them, yes, when you saw them climbing on outside the building, breaking through the doors, he is so full of crap that I'm surprised it's not flowing. Well, it's flowing through words out of his mouth. There is just no way in hell that this guy, looking like he does right there, was not ready for battle. And so to say otherwise is complete BS. And people have to stop letting them get away with it. They have to call them out on their BS. You just have to. All right. We're going to do Kim's news. Apparently now there is the 14th vote. 14th vote is underway for House Speaker. Apparently Kevin McCarthy believes that they're getting momentum, or he's getting momentum. I will show you some video of Paul Gosar. It's really funny to watch as some people are caving, but will it be enough? I'll tell you why Matt Gaetz says he will resign, which is going to be really interesting to watch. And then I do have Friday food. Should I do Friday food first? I'm thinking maybe we should eat before we upset our stomach, or should we eat after we upset our stomach? You vote. What do you think, Kim?
I like you to eat before you upset your stomach, because that could really get exciting in the show.
Okay. So we'll do Friday food right after Kim's news. Then we'll get an update on Kevin McCarthy's just crawling and crying and begging to become House Speaker. And then, of course, we'll do some lighter news in the next hour. Governor Newsom has started his second term with a march to the Capitol. We have it all coming up on the Nikki Medoro Show.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. California getting a short break to recover before another storm strikes tomorrow. After 2 days of heavy rain and high winds, more than 60,000 power customers are still without that juice. Some could stay that way going into the weekend as crews race and clean repairs. I did want to see if I could share a screen with you. I'll see if I can do it. This is just some storm damage photos, some pictures, which I think is a little bit interesting. See if I can play this for you. There you go. Look at this wave coming in. I mean, wow. Just inundated with water. That, of course, in the Santa Cruz area. That's what it looked like yesterday. And look at the streets of Capitola, just flooded and not looking pretty at all. But that's some of the pictures of the storm damage I wanted to share with you. We're in for another storm again tomorrow, but Tuesday of next week and Wednesday said to be even higher category of storm. ABC 7 putting that at a level 3, Saturday storm at a level 2. So it's next week when we could see even more. Although I will say the Russian River in Guerneville may hit flood stage is 32 feet. They may hit 40 feet on Saturday. So that's something we'll be keeping our eye on as well. President Biden marking the 2-year anniversary of the Capitol riot by awarding some medals today. So the second highest civilian honor, I believe, is what he is doing. It's called the Presidential Citizens Medal. It is being given to state officials who resisted pressure to overturn the 2020 election. Officers who defended the Capitol and election workers. President Biden said the recipients defended democracy with courage. So those medals are being given out today. And as Nikki mentioned, a small group of conservatives, once again, keeping Kevin McCarthy from becoming Speaker of the House. Enough of them voted against a Californian on the 13th ballot to deny him the gavel again. But the ranks are growing smaller. More than a dozen of them have flipped their support so far to McCarthy today. We are in the 14th round of voting underway as we speak in Washington, D.C. So far, yeah, they haven't posted any of the vote results yet, so that is still underway. The FDA is approving a drug, an Alzheimer's drug that slowed cognitive decline in clinical trials. The drug is called lecanemab. It was developed by Biogen and Japanese pharmaceutical company Eisai. Trials in November revealed it slows a cognitive decline somewhat in people with mild impairment due to Alzheimer's, but also carries risk of brain swelling and bleeding. But the FDA will be approving that drug. And in Georgia, Governor Kemp is blasting the ban on tailgating at college football's national championship game. Republican Governor Brian Kemp tweeting his displeasure over tailgating being prohibited outside of SoFi Stadium in Southern California. That is the site for the Georgia Bulldogs game against TCU Monday night. Kemp tweeted, "While California may not know this, in the South, a tailgate with friends and family is the only way to prepare for a big game." You can see all the Georgia fans in their tailgating vest. Yeah. He says if the game is in Georgia, tailgating will be allowed.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand that the rules surrounding SoFi Stadium have been in place for years, but I feel like tailgating is just part of the fun. I mean, how do you, especially on big championship games, I feel like they can make some sort of concession for certain games. Just make it not all the time. Perhaps they say it's because of parking and things like that. There's problems, but why not just at least a little bit of tailgating somewhere? They can't have tents or grills, but they can like hang out or whatever.
I don't know. They don't want you tailgating at SoFi Stadium, Nikki.
Oh,
You can pay. You have to pay like a VIP fee to go to a special tailgating area, but not everybody can tailgate.
Of course you have to pay.
Cough up the funds.
The rich people get to party. I get
That's
it.
right.
I get it.
This report, sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with the good old taxes, call Steve Moskowitz at 888-TAX-DEAL or moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
All right. So click that thumbs up button, please, while we're thinking about it. Also, I do want to say thank you and a big old happy birthday to Jim Slayton, giving us $50 in our super chat. My birthday is so easy to remember now, Insurrection Day. Happy Friday. You know what? I'm sure people are born on September 11th too. Your birthday, though, is the sunshine on this dark day in our American democracy, Jim. So very happy. Oh, I love it. Happy birthday, Jim. And thank you so much for donating in the super chat. The super chat is live. It's a way to support the show. Another way to support the show, of course, is to become a Patreon subscriber, a monthly Patreon subscriber. And if you are a Patreon subscriber, you will find something new on the Patreon page. And it's only for people that subscribe to Patreon. It is my latest video. I think I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking videos, Kim McAllister, to go with the Friday food segment. So today, it's not only Jim Slayton's birthday. It's not only January 6th. It is National Shortbread Day.
Oh.
So I decided to make did you watch Ted Lasso?
No.
What the hell is wrong with you? Okay. Ted Lasso is like one of the best shows ever. Just crucify our people in the chat. Okay. It's a great show, but there's a part of the show where Ted Lasso makes what they call biscuits, over in England or whatever, but they're shortbread cookies. And so I was like, you know what? For National Shortbread Day, I'm going to try to make them. So I have a picture of how they look, how they turned out. I made them last night because it didn't show up. Darn it. Here, I'll just hold it up to the camera. Okay, you ready? That's my shortbread cookie. Okay.
It kind of looks like a graham cracker almost.
It's not, but it's thick.
Oh, okay.
It's thick. So it's the simplest recipe ever. And if you want to see me make it, all of my Patreon subscribers, I made a whole new video for you guys. It's in Patreon. So I'm not going to tell you how I made it. You have to go there and you have to be special.
You can post a video in Patreon?
Yeah, that's how I'm doing.
Whoa.
Those are my special things that I'm doing. So I have my cup of coffee because you can't have shortbread without coffee. And I'm going to take a bite. Okay, you guys ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's a hard cookie. I mean, it's not chewy.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, it is so freaking good. And now I'm not patting myself on the back. Easiest recipe ever.
You're so
cute.
simple.
So it's really, really good. And these are really good. So I think I'd given Ted Lasso a run for his money, Kim.
I'm over at Patreon watching your video.
Are you saying that?
Mm-hmm.
I did a good job, didn't I?
You did. You're very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had all the ingredients. You probably have all the ingredients in your cupboards to make these shortbread cookies. And they are really good.
Salt, butter, sugar, vanilla, and what is that, flour?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
All right.
That's it. And a greased pan.
Oh, you've tricked me. I could see the preview, but I have to become a patron to unlock the whole thing. So I see what you're doing here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm teasing you people. So you can see the beginning of it, but
patreon.com.
yes. Yep. So let me put up the link right there for all of you. And that's what I want to do. I want to do more of these types of videos.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do, try it and like it type of things. And some of them I'll share on the show. I'm not saying they'll never be on the show, but I definitely want to give our Patreon subscribers special brownies. I mean, look, people, I dose mushrooms and I was just fooling with you guys last time. I don't think that I should take drugs while I'm on air. All right. I know that's kind of a wah-wah, but probably not for the best,
See, I love Don because he's so nice, but then says something like this, and I just completely disagree. But that's okay. We can still be friends, Don, and disagree. The thud sound you hear is from beating the J6 dead horse. I disagree. I feel like we need to remember January 6th, and we need to remember it every year.
How can we forget it? How do you forget it?
It's possible to have a real threat to our democracy. It's possible to lose our democracy. Nugget's pissed off too. I know. I get it.
Well, Dawn, you pissed the dog off. I mean, Nugget, it's okay. Now, let me ask you, Dawn, are we supposed to forget
beating it? I mean, you can't mention it enough.
Are we supposed to stop talking about 9/11? Are we supposed to stop talking about the wars that have been fought and the lives that have been lost? I mean, it's one of those things where, this January 6th, never seen anything like it. I mean, it is sadly a moment in our history that we can't forget, but I don't think we're beating a dead horse. And what would it say if just 2 years, on the 2-year anniversary of it, we're just like, something that happens. Again, we have people running for office that don't think there's anything wrong with what happened on January 6th.
You see
and that's ridiculous.
Videos of other countries of major political unrest, rioting in the streets, right? And then I always thought America's so stable. We're such a stable country that could never happen here.
Right. Nope.
Thank God that we live in America where, we don't have that type of cleavage going on, where there's not this divide, where people aren't so angry, where there's, coup attempts every 5 minutes. And look what happened.
Exactly. I mean,
and that's why you have to remember it, to show us that, we take for granted that we live in this country, but look what can happen when we start letting things get out of hand like that. So Don, no, there is no beating a dead horse. I do love you, but no.
Yeah. Okay. So McCarthy had gotten additional support. Again, McCarthy, who bent like a palm tree blowing in the wind after January 6th, even though at first he had the right reaction, he then, of course, goes to Mar-a-Lago, kissed the ring of Donald Trump. That is the main reason why I can't stand Kevin McCarthy, let alone I don't think that he was a good politician. And the fact that he is a Republican leader and people did not know what district, let alone state, like Howard Stern, no idea where he represents, tells you everything you need to know on whether or not he's working for the people he represents or whether he's working for Kevin McCarthy. But I digress. I think I've been abundantly clear. I can't stand him. They've been adjourned.
Like they're adjourned. Yeah, now until 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. Or until 7.
Yeah.
7.
10 Eastern, 7 our time.
7 our time. So that'll be primetime watching. If you feel like spending your Friday night watching this nonsense, knock yourself out. But let's watch the kind of the caving, okay, of, again, people that are total maggots and are holding strong as never Keviners, but someone caved, and this was the moment that it happened. And although, again, I don't want Kevin McCarthy. I don't like these people either. But just look at Paul Gosar's face. He's talking to Matt Gaetz here. And just look at how much he really just doesn't want to do what he's doing. Okay, watch him. He's the one that... There we go. Here we go. Watch him. Oh. McCarthy. He didn't want to do it. Gaetz is pissed. And he's like so upset at himself for not
I gotta get out of there.
Well, it just goes to show, again, an example of someone who says, I am holding the line. This is what I believe in. Until you get something you want, until it benefits you. Obviously, Gosar heard something, got some sort of promise. And so he caved. Yeah. Now, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't agree either way. I don't want who they want. I don't want any of them. Yeah. But yes, Nick, when I say maggots, I mean maggots. Yes, they are interchangeable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now there's this. Will Matt Gaetz make us all very happy and take his Weasley face home? He was on Fox News. Exactly. Go the hell home, please. Here he is. He's on Fox News talking about what it would take for him to resign.
Okay, Congressman, will you be okay then if there's ultimately a deal struck with moderate Democrats that give Democrats kind of co-control of the committees? You're fine with that?
No, absolutely not. That will not happen. There are two potential scenarios here. No, listen, I'm on the floor, Laura. These 212 Democrats are going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries every single time. He is a historic candidate for them. They are not going to cleave off under any circumstance. I assure you that if Democrats join up to elect a moderate Republican, I will resign from the House of Representatives. That is how certain I am. I can assure your viewers that won't happen.
Are you okay, Congressman? Will you be?
I hope he does. I hope he resigns. I know
He won't resign. I hate his face.
I hate his face too. He's such a punchable face, doesn't he?
That's horrible to say, but I just
no, it's not. He says so many more horrible things than that, and he does have a punchable face. He does. Sorry, you just do. He is a troll, Kim. Absolutely. You look. See, everybody doesn't like his face. Nobody likes. Oh wait, will you be okay, groomer? That's really funny. I mean, the fact that he doesn't like Kevin McCarthy, and we agree on that, is the only thing I think I will ever agree with Matt Gaetz on. There is just no way that he is going to do what's right for anybody but Matt Gaetz. I just don't think that he does what's right for the rest of the country. And it's been ridiculous.
Does he look like the Beavis and Butthead guy? Is that what it is?
It
he
is
has a
that.
look to his face where it's like...
You're absolutely right, Amy. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So he's, which one is he? Beavis or Butthead? I think he's Butthead, right? I can't remember. AOC was talking to him. Yeah, her fingers were itching to punch his ugly face. We're so nice this Friday.
I
It's
love
so
our
funny.
chatters.
I
Love
know.
our chatters.
Mo, promises from the GOP. What can you expect? They're not going to keep that promise. I know. It's frustrating. Let's look at a little montage of all of the nonsense that has been going on because of all of this. So let's see. CNN's I forget her, Janine Moos. Do you ever watch any of her stuff? She's really good, and she does kind of these funny type of takes about things. And so she did it. Her article, and it's attached to a video, of course. It's called "Beers, Binoculars, Babies: The Wackiest Moments from the House Speaker Fiasco." So let me see if I can show you some of it, because it's just too damn good. Let's see. Here we go.
Chip fiasco has careened from extremely rowdy to extremely sleep-inducing. Baby, wake up. Democrats chanted their House leader's name like it was a football game. While While Republican Representative Kat Cammack made accusations that had Democrats saying, what?
They want us to fight each other. That much has been made clear by the popcorn and blankets and alcohol that is coming over there.
Cheers. Cheers, bitch.
Okay, it's true that
the House is not in order.
No, it's
no
not.
alcohol was being ordered as vote after vote ended with the same words.
A speaker has not been elected.
Wannabe House Speaker Kevin McCarthy probably didn't appreciate the select all images with speakers joke. Democratic Representative Jimmy Gomez was wearing his 4-month-old son as he voted for Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries.
AOC gave the baby a congratulatory belly rub. Between speeches, members were shooting off their mouths and their fingers, gesticulating madly. It left viewers trying to lip read, and when AOC chatted with arch-enemy Republicans, it inspired nonsensical bad lip readings.
You heard of the Pied Piper? Well, my dream Pied Piper had toilet paper, one sheet of the cheap kind.
Yes. Democrats groaned when Matt Gaetz voted for a certain ex-president for Speaker of the House.
Donald John Trump.
Even hardcore Republicans couldn't keep a straight face. And check out the face of the newly elected congressman who got caught in a web of lies about himself, George Santos.
Santos.
He didn't recognize his own name during one roll call.
Santos.
George who?
Snap out of it, idiot.
One commentator wrote, the poor House clerk is dangerously close to running out of pencil, and this kid may be old enough to speak by the time they elect a speaker. Ginny Mose, CNN.
Yeah, so she does a really good job with all of those. But that's how crazy this has been. And yes, it's entertaining to watch, but it's, again, we're not able to do the things we need to do. And that's the problem. They have power in the House and they've done nothing but bitch and moan and bicker. And it's funny to watch, but our democracy is at risk.
I have some pictures for you.
Oh, please. Okay.
Butthead.
Okay. So,
I'm
Butthead.
just saying. I mean, is that what it is?
Yes. Well, and he has a punchable face. I don't even think we need to have Beavis or Butthead. He just does. Someone said MTG was the other one. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, we're being mean. I know we're being mean or we're not being mature.
Girls are such bitches.
I know, but I don't care. I really don't. Someone's saying it's Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. There's so many of them that could be Beavis and Butthead. They're all idiots. They're absolute idiots. Now I want to play you this one thing. Now, again, have I ever punched out a guy in a bar? No. Have you heard something about me? Is there a story that's getting out around me about
Nikki
me?
the
No.
Bruiser.
You know how tall I am?
At
You're not
Station
gonna
X, they
knee
always said,
somebody.
watch out for that girl.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe my mouth, but that's about it. Now, when we're talking about uniting the country, okay, and I know that we're being mean, but we're not politicians, right? We're commentators. I'm doing a talk show. I'm able to spout my opinion, and that's what I do, right? As a politician, though, do you think that there should be a level of respect and maturity? Because I think that's what we also need to get under control. I'm going to play you this interview between CNN's Aaron Burnett and Congressman Troy Niels of Texas. And this is the problem, is that there's a certain segment of the population, of the political lawmaker population, that has no respect for, decorum. And when they talk like this, they empower other people to act that way. So watch this exchange, because I would be pissed off.
I just mentioned Patrick McHenry, a key negotiator. He's trying to lock in support for McCarthy for Speaker. And he just said that the House is probably not going to adjourn anytime soon.
This was last night.
Are you prepared to go all night?
I'm a combat veteran, served in law enforcement for 30 years. I can be here till July.
And are you, is that a metaphor for how you feel about this? Is your support for McCarthy, there's nothing that can break or shake it at this point?
Well, listen, I don't know if you're aware of, young lady, but I am also
Young
a
lady
member of the House Freedom Caucus.
What?
So I am one of those America First patriots. And I have said to my friends, my colleagues in the Freedom Caucus, that I don't believe that this is the battle we should be waging. I think the real battle starts when we start drafting legislation and policy in the 118th Congress under a Speaker McCarthy. And you have to understand, your viewers have to understand, there's 35 to 40 of us in the House Freedom Caucus. If we have a thin margin of 222 Republicans, it takes 218 of us to pass any legislation, right? The House Freedom Caucus is more relevant than ever. So I believe that is the battle. Those are the conversations that should take place, because Kevin McCarthy understands that in order for him to pass anything in this 118th Congress, he's going to need support and the endorsement from the House Freedom Caucus. And that's when I believe we should have these conversations.
So I'll assume
listen.
when you called me a young lady, it was a compliment.
Of course it was. This is my first time on the Clinton News Network. Absolutely.
Okay, that I will say was a bit, in my opinion, rude, but I'm glad you're talking to me, and I will treat you with the respect that you deserve.
Sure.
Which is none.
None.
Which is none.
She
I'm
asked
like,
him if the young lady comment was a compliment, and he then further downgraded, which means
Yeah.
the young lady compliment was not a compliment at all.
no, it wasn't.
No, it was meant to be derogatory. And so, you know what? Screw you. Treating you with the respect you deserve none.
None.
No.
And again, the Freedom Caucus is extremely staunchly conservative. Now, McCarthy has expressed a willingness to place more of them on the Rules Committee. Do you really think this is going to lead to more instances of us working together when you are going to put people on the Rules Committee who are so staunchly to the right? Again, McCarthy is also relenting on allowing more votes to institute term limits, to enact specific border policy, to allow one vote to start to open up the discussion about ousting the speaker. I mean, by the time he makes all these concessions and becomes speaker, it's not even going to mean anything. It's just going to be something he writes down on his resume. And so it's I don't know. I wish Aaron Burnett would have called him to the carpet a little bit more, because these are the moments in which you can just be like, you know, we are a legitimate news organization. We are giving you a platform, a national, if not international platform, to express yourselves. I am not insulting you. How dare you insult me? That is, I mean, and I know Aaron Burnett probably can't say it that way. I can, because I'm on YouTube. But and you like, I like how she's like, in my opinion, rude. No, it is rude. That is rude. And why do you feel that you can talk to me this way when I am not calling you names, and I'm not calling, you know, your Freedom Caucus names? That's what Aaron Burnett should have said to that ass. But of course, she didn't. She was just way too nice for all of that. And it's frustrating.
I'm outraged by the way he treated her.
Yeah.
I think why
lady.
are
Ugh.
Americans electing these people that have no political acumen, that don't approach people with, you know, the dignity and honor that their office should carry? I don't understand how these people get into office. I don't understand how rudeness is celebrated. I'm outraged.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason is because the GOP specifically has let in these wackadoos who, again, are only promoting their agenda to make a name of themselves, to get their 30 minutes of fame. And I gave this guy, right, Niels, his fame by replaying that interview. Young lady. They're probably the same damn age. I mean, it's not like he looked like he was that much older than her. God, if he would have done that. You know, and that's the other thing. Say it to my face. Like, yeah, we're on TV, but go ahead. Call me a young lady right in front of me, and then see how that goes over. But I don't know. I'm getting all hot bothered.
So let's pretend we're her, and we're on CNN. We're on as we used to be, a reputable news network, right? And you want to keep up your composure. What's her proper response? Because I don't think she responded well enough.
No, I don't think she responded well enough at all. I don't think making a joke, I assume you called me young lady, as a compliment. I would have said something to the effect of, I am a grown woman and I am a journalist, and I'm asking you a straightforward question. And and my name is Aaron Burnett. If you need to address me as anything, you can address me by my name.
And she
As
should
I
have
respect you.
interrupted him to say that at
Yes.
the very beginning, right after he said that to her. Because what a jerk face.
Oh, I know. See, they're so punchable, Kim. They're just
Jerky
so
jerk face.
they're just so damn punchable. I swear to God. I freaking A. You like what is this? You mean like the USSC? Are you talking about the Supreme Court is far right now? John, I'm asking about your question. Are you talking about SCOTUS, the United States Supreme Court? Is that what the USSC is? Now they do. They have conservatives on there. There's not much we can do about that. We have to elect the politicians that allow and make the appointments to the U.S. Supreme Court. But yeah, we're stuck with them. I would love term limits for SCOTUS judges. I would, absolutely, hands down, love to have term limits. Now, I'm not saying 4 years or anything like that, because I do think that judicial appointments should have some sense of, longevity, so that you don't bend with the whims of the country, and that you kind of hold the rule of law as a checks and balance on Congress and elections and things like that. But lifetime appointments, screw you. No way. We have proven we can't handle that. We live too damn long. Like, no, thank you. No, we need to get rid of that. I absolutely agree. Eric, they're not going to expand SCOTUS. There's not. It's never going to happen. I mean, it could. It's not like it's against the law and there's not precedent for it, but it's never going to happen. It's unfortunately, because then it'll just happen and happen and happen. And then where do we stop? Right. I mean, where does it stop? I do, of course, because of, Merrick Garland being denied, because of Mitch McConnell and his Weasley face, another punchable face right there. I just,
We're kind of violent today. We're really kind of going for
there
it.
was something in my cookies, Kim McAllister.
Is that what it is?
I don't know, but yeah, it's what I think. It's also the Friday after dealing with this all week and watching these machinations of back and forth with Kevin McCarthy and the speeches that are given, and just the fact that this political party represents so many Americans and yet they don't represent anything really. It's frustrating. I guess I'm just expressing my frustration at the whole entire thing.
Do you think it's smart for them to drag it out like this, because the kind of the spotlight is shined on their message and the ugliness and what they want to say, and it's kind of an attention getting device? Because I think it makes them look like they're in total disarray.
Oh, they do.
They're completely discombobulated and a bunch of lame-os for all these shenanigans they're trying to pull. But maybe there's actually some thought behind it, and maybe they're just trying to get more time in the in the news media.
Yeah, but I mean, the longer this goes
right
on,
into their trap.
I firmly believe that if they could agree on a House Speaker, they would have done it already. They just can't because of the holdouts, right? Now again, Paul Gosar flip-flopped. We'll see if anybody else will. Gaetz is not going to. Boebert is not going to. Biggs is not going to. So that's 3 definitely just off the top of my head. We'll see what happens tonight. I definitely think I don't think they want Monday to arrive and they don't have anybody as speaker. It's that would be absolutely embarrassing. Okay, real quick before we go to your news, I just want to show you this one thing. And this is just because it has to do with Trump, who started this. I mean, didn't start it, but it's just the epitome of what's the problem with all of this. There's a German company that wants to brand alcohol and condoms with Trump's name on it. That's not actually the condom that they're doing. I just found that one online. So it's a German company wants to launch a line of Trump branded condoms, alcohol, chocolates, and more. But it's being met with pushback from Trump's legal team. Apparently, this has been caught in limbo with the EU IPO, the European Union Intellectual Property Office. Now, this started when a guy by the name of Frank Lindner filed an application with the EU IPO to use the Trump brand name for a wide variety of products that he has: clothing, condoms, headgear, footwear, beer, chocolate, sparkling wine. Now, Trump's last name has obviously been used on many products, licensed to at least 50 different licensing or management deals over the years. So my question to you is this. I mean, one, I would buy that condom just as kind of like a souvenir of the nonsense. But do you think that the Trump brand, let's just say, I mean, he says he's running for president. Let's say he stays in it and he loses, which I hope would happen. Do you think that people are going to buy Trump steaks, Trump ties? I mean, do you think that he has permanently ruined his brand? Tell me in the chat what you guys think as we head to Kim's news, because I think so. I think Trump now, when at one point it was equated with opulence, right? Success, high-rise buildings, things like that, gold. Now it's a joke. It's a total joke, but maybe that's my politics showing. So you guys tell me, do you think that Trump, the business brand, can survive, even though I think Trump, the politician, is waning? Let me know in the chat. Again, coming up, we'll update the very encouraging news of Damar Hamlin, and we'll get into some celebrity news. And Tom Hanks weighed in on something we were talking about earlier this week, which was nepotism babies. So he weighed in on it, and he made a very interesting point about it, and introduced 2 kids to me that I had no idea he had that were in the business, which I had no idea. So I'll have that coming up right after this.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Damar Hamlin's condition continues to improve, thankfully. The Buffalo Bills safety is now breathing on his own. He's reportedly addressed his teammates through FaceTime this morning. He regained consciousness Wednesday night, had a breathing tube in his body since suffering cardiac arrest during the Buffalo Bills game on Monday. Again, he's now breathing on his own. So he's been extubated, which means he's off life support at this point and breathing on his own. Things are looking good for him. So that's really good news. January 6th. It's been 2 years to the day since the U.S. Capitol attack, and it is being marked by House members. From the Capitol steps, incoming House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries honored officers who defended the Capitol that day. He said democracy remains intact because of their heroic efforts. Also in Washington, D.C. at this hour, the House adjourning until 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. This comes as a small group of conservatives once again keeping Kevin McCarthy from becoming Speaker of the House. Enough of them voted against the Californian on the 13th and most recent ballot to deny him the gavel, so the saga continues. President Biden is saying the latest jobs report is great news for the economy. December saw 223,000 jobs created, more than analysts expected, and the unemployment rate now sits at 3.5%. President Biden said there's still work to do to bring down inflation, but that the company is moving in the right direction. There is new evidence to show that combat-related PTSD is able to be cured. A doctor at UT San Antonio found a 3-week format of therapy led to more than half of participants completely losing their PTSD diagnosis. That's compared to veterans who had therapy once a week over a series of several months. And this story in here for you, Nick, because the San Francisco 49ers will be getting some reinforcements back in their regular season finale. The Niners play the Arizona Cardinals at Levi's Stadium this Sunday, and general manager John Lynch says he expects wide receiver Deebo Samuel and running back Elijah Mitchell to play. Both have been out due to injury. 49ers have a chance to improve their playoff seeding. They need to win this Sunday, and they need the Philadelphia Eagles to lose their game against the New York Giants in order to secure the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. So
yeah, but I'm a little nervous because the last check, and I don't know if it's changed, Christian McCaffrey was still not practicing because of an ankle sprain. Now he has just been, oh my God, so huge to the team. So on one hand, I want him to relax. On the other hand, because I don't want him to, injure it even more as we head to the playoffs. But getting Deebo back, it's
kind of huge. But
yeah.
no,
not that. Not that. Don't ever conflate the two. My God, McCaffrey is gorgeous. That guy is just like, but yeah, yeah. I'm optimistic. It's the last regular game of the season for the Niners, hoping for that win, and the Eagles loss. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll be rooting for my team.
A lot of people fans of the movie Gladiator Well, Deadline is reporting that actor Paul Mescal, here he is in negotiations to star in the sequel of Ridley Scott's Gladiator. The film will be director Scott's last and will take place years after the first film ended. Mescal is known for his role in the Hulu limited series Normal People and last year's critically acclaimed film After Sun. No word on when the sequel to Gladiator will make it to the big screen. And you may remember Edward Norton.
I love him. Love him.
Just finding out that he's related to Pocahontas on the PBS show, which this is one of my favorite shows. I love it. It's called Finding Your Roots. Have you seen it? Okay. So the Oscar-nominated actor discovered the daughter of a 17th century Native American chief is his 12th great-grandmother.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I totally see the resemblance. Just kidding. Just kidding. Have you seen no? Have you seen him in Glass Onion? Have you seen Glass Onion yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you have Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
Should I put it on my list?
Oh, absolutely. It's a Knives Out production or whatever the hell they called it. It's so good. It's really, really. I mean, there's all kinds of big names in it, so definitely see it. But he's the one of the stars.
I started watching a new series last night called The Rig, and it totally made me think of you because it's kind of, I didn't realize it, but it's a little bit of a horror movie.
Oh.
It's a series, but it's about these workers on this oil rig off Scotland. And so they all have the thick Scottish brogue. You have to kind of use that.
Oh, I think you were telling me about that. That's right. And what's that on? What channel?
I think it's Netflix, but it's on Amazon Prime show. And so then there's this, I started watching it last night, and apparently there's this type of parasite that's infecting the people and causing them to go crazy and see things. And it's interesting. It's reminding me of you. It's called The Rig. Okay, back to actor Edward Norton.
Okay.
Who's discovered via this show on PBS, Finding Your Roots, that he is related, that his 12th great-grandmother was Pocahontas. Host of the program, historian Henry Louis Gaetz Jr. confirmed by saying, you have a direct paper trail. There is no doubt about it.
Wow.
The 53-year-old actor says it just makes you realize what a small piece of the whole human story that you actually are.
See, I would love to do so. I mean, the 23andMe thing, I did that. There haven't been any surprises, but what is it? What's the show called? Something Your Roots?
Finding Your Roots.
Finding Your Roots. Finding Your Roots. That always, because didn't they say that Bernie Sanders and Larry, what's his face from Curb Your Enthusiasm, actually are related, even though they look like each other? They're actually do have some sort of genealogical connection. They do. Yeah, they do apparently. Yeah. So that's interesting. I don't know. I love all that stuff. My mother-in-law geeks out on genealogy. So that's pretty cool. Pocahontas. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's
This
a good
report
one.
sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. So if you need help with your taxes, Steve Moskowitz, you can see the bottom of your screen there, 888-TAX-DEAL or moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
All right, thanks for joining us on the second hour of the Nikki Medoro Show. Please click that thumbs up. It helps us out. YouTube loves it. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of your help. Again, a reminder. Oh, here we go. I made delicious, if I do say so myself, shortbread cookies. It's National Shortbread Day. They're really freaking good. I'm not lying. You have everything you need to make these cookies. You can make them with me by being a Patreon subscriber, because I put up a step-by-step video of myself making these, but it's only—
I want the recipe.
I know. Well, you can go there and get it. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, become a Patreon subscriber. I will be putting more of these videos up there for you to see and try out. And I like the recipes. I like the kind of trying things that I don't necessarily do on the show as often. The super chat is live, and I want to say a bunch of thank yous to people who have been donating into our Patreon. First, let's start with a big happy birthday, of course, to Jim Slayton. Happy birthday, not happy Insurrection Day. Happy birthday to Jim Slayton. Donated $50. Michelle with $2. America's first patriot, big red flag. Yeah, I get it. And then one of our biggest sponsors of supporters of the show, I should say, Andreas, with a $20 donation into the super chat. But that's not all. That is not all. Andreas gave us another $50. What a fiasco in Congress. You were absolutely correct, Andreas. Yeah. I mean, it's embarrassing that we are on the international stage and the world is seeing us. And then he gave us another $50, Kim. Oh my God, $120 from Andreas to every single one of you that donate during the super chat, during the show. You could do it. Even if you're watching this on replay, we really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, and again, the shortbreads, David is correct. I have my cup of coffee, but I'm telling you, again, I know I made it, so I'm a little bit biased, but they're really good. You could taste the butteriness. It is a harder cookie, but it is so freaking good. Again, if you want to also support the show and advertise for me on your chest, on your arm, in your cup, you can go to the NikkiMedoroShop.com. All of our merch is up there. More is a-coming, and we really appreciate it. And again, if you get your merchandise, please take a picture, and we'll throw it up there and show it on our show and have a great time with that. Okay, I do want to read a few of the comments, though, regarding the Trump brand. Do you think that the Trump brand is on its way out? Now, David wrote in, as a mainstream brand, Trump is dead. It's only for MAGA fanatics. That's true. Now, I was laughing that there's this German company that wants to make Trump branded condoms. Eric writes in, you only need one Trump condom to prevent pregnancy. Don't even need to open it. Just looking at the package will put anyone out of the mood to use it. Yeah. And
I think America needs a giant Trump condom to protect us from him. Like, just put it over the whole entire country and keep him on the other side.
Funny. It is so funny. Yeah. I mean, and sorry, I'll take that picture down because that's disgusting. It's how far he has fallen. Again, because of his ego.
Yeah.
I'm not playing a tiny violin for him at all, but he really, 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 really messed up his business. And now with his tax returns, everyone knows, how much money he did and did not make. And so, yeah. Yep. I don't care. Mindy says, I hope Trump fails. I do too. All right. Enough of Trump. All right. Enough of Trump. Now, in your news, Kim, you were talking about Damar Hamlin and the progress that he has made, which is excellent. I love the fact that when he woke up, he's like, did we win the game?
Yeah.
And that, on one hand, everyone's like, haha, but it just goes to show that he has the memory too, right? Yeah. I mean, he knows something happened on the field. He knows that he was playing a game. That is extremely encouraging. I think there was one that was saying, like, the light's on and it's all working up there, which is great. And so we wish him the best of luck. Now, as far as the game, they did end up canceling the game between the Bills and the Bengals. So they've said in the statement, they've told all the teams about the decision. So they'll cancel the game based on a few key factors. This is what it was based on. No team would clinch a playoff spot or be eliminated as a result of the game. That resuming it would require postponing the playoffs entirely, which we knew they were not going to do. And canceling it before week 18 lets all the teams know their playoff possibilities in advance of the week. And so, yes, this coming weekend will be the final week of the NFL regular season. Go Niners. I hope they clinch it. It's a bit of a long shot, but yeah, I'm happy. And then I think every team is planning on doing something during their game to honor Damar Hamlin, who, again, his GoFundMe for the toy drive is in the multi-millions of dollars, which is huge. I guess they're going to start using some of that money for another kind of grant or something for kids, which is a great way. Nice. It's really, and it's encouraging. Okay. So also today, California Governor Gavin Newsom has officially, it started on Monday, but he's commenced his second term. He was sworn in today. He marched to the U.S. Capitol. And he said it was to mark California's commitment to democracy, of course, on the anniversary of January 6th. But, he's going to have quite a week next week. We have a number of things that are going on that could take some of the, helium out of the balloons of his celebration. Of course, we have people striking. obviously he's doing this in the shadow of this gigantic storm that we've been dealing with. He's been declaring state of emergencies. I know you were showing images of Santa Cruz. I mean, Zelda's in Santa Cruz. It's not gone, but it's destroyed. I saw one picture where Zelda's, and if you've ever been in Santa Cruz, you know Zelda's. I mean, it's iconic. The whole entire front of it's open, like, which means everything can just get inside. It is, so Governor Newsom has a lot on his hands, but he is a well-worn politician. I don't foresee him ending his term early to run for president. I think that whole question of whether or not he would challenge Kamala Harris, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that he's really has his eyes set on the White House this early? Because he is still relatively young.
He
in
said
the grand
no
scheme of things.
adamantly, but
Yeah.
you just never know how it's going to shake out, right?
I
wouldn't
mean,
put it past him. I'm
Yeah.
not going to close the door.
Well, he's obviously going to be facing criticism from across the country. He is seen as a very progressive, liberal governor of a very liberal state. On Monday, this Monday, there's actually going to be a protest in front of the Capitol. There's going to be 10-foot tall, reportedly, 10-foot tall puppets of Newsom and California billionaires. This is going to happen not only in Sacramento, but in San Diego and Los Angeles. It's scheduled one day before he's supposed to unveil his budget proposal for the upcoming fiscal year, which will likely have to account for a projected $24 billion deficit, which could, of course, put some of our social safety net programs at risk. Now, the protest is being organized by a group called California Common Good. This is their stated goal for this protest for Newsom and state lawmakers to pursue progressive revenue solutions like an increased corporate tax, wealth tax, digital ad tax, and other incentives that tax the wealthiest individuals and industries in the state rather than budget cuts and austerity measures. Do you guys think, I love this. I'm sorry, I just had to Google it just to be fair. Newsom has a punchable face too. John does not. I know. I mean, he's handsome. I mean, arguably he's handsome. I'm sure some people don't think he's attractive, but I could see where John's coming from. If you don't like Newsom, you probably want to punch him in the face. I don't, but I could see how you could want to do that. What do you think? Do you think that the amount of wealth in the state of California, the number of wealthy people that don't want to leave the state of California, do you think that will always remain the same? That these rich people, if they're taxed too much, won't just pick up and leave? I know that we've seen, obviously, some businesses move, but the wealthy, there is still something about California. You can talk all you want about Arizona, Nevada, Texas, all you want, but California is paradise to a lot of people. Like, this is the place to live. Like, you can entice people with all sorts of stuff, but then you have the weather, you have the bugs, you have the hurricanes, you have all kinds of other problems. And not only that, because I know I can already hear people yelling, yeah, but all the homeless problems. And yeah, and people still stay, right? I started the whole show talking about rents and how much people pay for rent. And yet all of the negative things that people say is not enough for people to pick up and leave. So while on one hand, I get what California Common Good is saying. Look, tax the wealthy. Yes, some of them may leave, but not all of them are going to leave. And we shouldn't have to tighten our belts when there's and reduce our social services to people that need it, which is just going to exacerbate all the problems we're seeing on the streets anyway. When there's wealthy people that can just be taxed properly. And I'm not saying where they have to give up half of their wealth, they'll still be wealthy. They're still going to have, tax people that are going to figure out the law to make sure that they're able to keep a lot more of their money. But you have to go where the money is. You have to realize that you can't keep asking the poor people in a very expensive, high-cost state like California to continue to be taxed at a level that the rich don't have to pay. It's not feasible. Let's see. Oh, Randy writes in, why do you think Newsom came out against Proposition 30? Because it was going to raise the state income taxes on the wealthy even higher. It's already the highest in the country. Wes writes in, Newsom always has a place in my heart. My husband and I got married when we lived in San Francisco, when he made it marriage legal in San Francisco. That's awesome. What does taxed properly mean? Taxed properly, and I know that it will vary depending on the person or the job, but taxed where teachers who don't make nearly as much as millionaires and billionaires is paying more a higher tax rate. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. They should get, or at the very least, give tax breaks to people like teachers, right? That don't make a ton of money for the high cost area in which they live. Give them the breaks, not the wealthy all the breaks. That's what I mean. Karen writes in, although 300,000 have moved, it's not enough. We have 40 million here. Because of our cost of living, we will only get the most educated and wealthy moving here. Those without education and jobs, adios. Except all the wealthy and the educated still want all those lower income people working at restaurants, working in schools, right? Again, our community is made up of more than just college educated or millionaires. It just is. And we want them there. So we have to find a way to make it affordable for these people to stay because they are vital to our community running the way it does. We just need to realize that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me go more to the chat. The wealthy can afford it and have other homes elsewhere too. That's very true, Joe. That's very, very true. Kim writes in, we help people, but so many people take advantage of our social services. I understand that thought. And I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there are a lot of people that just they stay in the Bay Area or in California in general because we are a state that puts a value on social safety nets. But it works for us. I mean, it seems expensive, right? But if you live in the state like California, in my opinion, it's naturally going to attract people, both the wealthy and the not so wealthy. So you can either let them, flounder on the street, or you can help them get a leg up. I would never underestimate someone's desire. And I know we always put the spotlight on homeless people that are drug addicted and don't want to work or go into shelters. And I understand there is a certain segment of the population that are like that. I think there's a larger, more silent population that really wants to work hard and just is keep trying to get their head above water to succeed. And that for certain reasons, a myriad of reasons, they're just pushed back down. And oftentimes it's because of pushback from the community in which they want to live. There's no value on that. I was listening. Oh, let me find it because I've been really enjoying it. And it's an older podcast. But it is called Imperfect Paradise. Okay. LAist puts it out. It's down in Southern California. Imperfect Paradise. They have 3 seasons. And one of their seasons, and let me tell you which one it is. I think it's the first season. They were talking about trying to open, not a shelter, but, housing for homeless people, transitional housing for homeless people. And they interviewed so many people that were in this community. And I know we've heard it before, but it's so interesting to hear people saying, I'm tired of seeing the homeless here. And then when you present a possible solution, i.e. getting them off the street and into housing. Oh, but I don't want that here because that's going to attract more homeless people. Instead of understanding that homeless people are coming whether you like it or not, right? I mean, homelessness begets homelessness. If you see an encampment, it draws more encampment. Anybody that's seen an encampment pop up that doesn't get shut down right away knows exactly what I'm talking about. You see one tent and like 2 weeks later, there's 3 tents overnight. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, that seems to be a safe place. And, safety in numbers, which I also understand. So if you're already seeing an encampment, the best way to do is to get them housing, which gets them into a location to bring them services. Again, Imperfect Paradise. I urge you to at least listen to the first season of it because they were highlighting an organization that was once praised by this city, by the neighbors for what they do for the homeless. And yet when they wanted to throw their work behind temporary housing, they were pushed back. People were, trying to create names for themselves by showing up at city council meetings and, screaming about how we're going to sue you. What do you want to happen then? You can't pick people up as if they're trash and just throw them away as if that's going to solve the problem. There is no way. Similar to trash, there is no way. You have to find a place for these people. And if your town happens to be a popular place, in my opinion, the best solution, of course, is housing. Let's see. Wes writes in, there's people with jobs that live in their cars and shower at gyms, but have jobs. They just can't find affordable housing based on their income. Ding. Absolutely. That's exactly what happens. So at a time when, Governor Newsom, of course, he won, he beat that recall. He has a tall order from residents that he has to address. What are we going to do about the projected budget deficit? What social services are we going to continue to keep funding? What are you really going to do about homelessness? The care court, right? That's supposed to be starting this year. I'm correct about that, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, he needs to kind of put up or shut up. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he's going to be successful. And again, if he can crack that nut on how to get the homelessness population down in the entire state by working, not just with people at the local level, but I would also say at the federal level, understanding that these are American citizens, and maybe it is time for the federal government to step in with some sort of assistance. I'm not saying housing assistance, but money assistance, because it's a state of emergency in so many parts of California. Whether it's San Francisco, whether it's Sacramento, whether it's down in LA, something needs to be done. We can't just keep doing what we're doing because it's just not working. Okay, so we have some news coming up. I wanted to get to this. This was a little more fun. Let's transition away from politics, shall we? And talk about some trends in the new year. And it is Friday, so let's do some food trends specifically with. Okay, I'll ask you guys in the chat, and you can tell me, Kim. Which do you prefer? Do you like, if you're going to go out to a restaurant and you're going to get a type of sandwich, do you prefer a burger with beef? And it could be impossible meat if you're a vegan, or chicken. Which do you think is becoming more popular for Americans? Different types of burgers with or without kind of plant-based meat, or chicken, not impossible chicken, just regular chicken. What do you think is going to become more popular, and what's seeing the new biggest trends in 2023?
I'm going to say plant-based meat seems to be on the rise. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. Actually, plant-based, at least burgers, at least Beyond Meat, I believe. I think their stock has been going down. That they've reached, not that it's, I don't know about the stock necessarily, but here was one article that I read about plant-based meat, that it's hit a saturation point amongst those that are doing it for either environmental or dietary reasons. It's hit a roadblock in people that still want to eat meat and then just occasionally eat plant-based meat. So this is kind of the hurdle that Beyond Meat, Impossible Meat, these plant-based meats are going to have to overcome. But in 2023, you should prepare yourself for more chicken sandwiches. This is one of the food trends that is coming in. Also, so Nashville hot chicken has become so mainstream that Iowa and Kentucky football players devoured it in an eating contest. Have you ever had a Nashville hot chicken sandwich? It's a special kind of sauce, I guess. Sometimes it's just a dry rub, and some people, they dip it in kind of this sauce in addition to the spices that they use. It's hot, so you have to like really, really hot food. I've had a Nashville hot chicken. There was layers, levels, I should say, of hotness. It was really good. They say, although the chicken sandwich wars began in 2019, it's so hot that the Food Association gave it a number 2 spot on its overall list and 2 spots on its luncheon list. So chicken sandwiches, a big hit at Wingstop, that have included a lemon pepper punch and mango habanero heat, which is one of my favorite flavors. Hot Honey, which is a gourmet syrup company, named it as its 2023 flavor of the year. Wendy's, Lucille Smokehouse Barbecue also have new chicken sandwiches. Some other 2023 food trends. Dining in is back. Obviously, this has to do with COVID and people kind of taking to go and getting things delivered. People are going to be going back into restaurants.
I don't think the trend of having things delivered will go away, though. Do you? It's just so convenient.
It is convenient, but it's expensive. I think
Yeah,
people at a time when
true.
people are watching their pennies, when you
Yeah.
realize how much more you're paying for something simply to have it brought to your home because your lazy ass can't drive 5 minutes to go get
It's
it.
true. It's
I
true.
think there's going to be a little bit of a pullback on that.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh, charcuterie boards. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right, but
Yeah,
that's
you're
how I
saying it
say
right.
it. Okay, so they're saying that those are continuing to become more and more popular, that restaurants are hopping on board because usually you make one if you're having a party at your house, but there's actually businesses that are getting into this as if you can't cut your own cheese and, I don't know, twirl your own salami. I don't know. But restaurants that serve them are Meat on Ocean in Santa Monica. They charge $44 for a 5-item board. $53 for a 7-item board. I still think that's way too much. The Rustic Fork in Riverside charges $35 for a board with assorted meats, cheeses, and fruits. In Florida, there's a place called Gray's Craze that specializes in custom charcuterie boards and catering. They're planning to open up more locations in Chula Vista and Modesto.
Okay.
Another thing that you're going to see if you are dining in at restaurants, which I actually like, menu streamlining. They're saying that restaurants will stop having kind of like that Cheesecake Factory novel type of menu. And I always, although on one hand, if I'm going with the kids, I love a big menu because then they could decide what they want and we have options. On the other hand, if the menu is too long, they're not doing anything that great, right? You can't be an expert. Not every meal is going to be fresh, that's for sure. There's a ton of frozen stuff. So kind of you want to stay away from those, but they're saying menu streamlining. And then finally, sriracha variations. Brand many Southern Californians are familiar with. That's the Hui Fong Foods in Irwindale is behind the well-known sriracha, but they're saying different types of variations of those are coming our way in 2023. So there you go for our Friday food. Those are your 2023 food trends. We'll talk about some celebrity news, nepotism babies, nepo babies. Tom Hanks is weighing in on that debate and introduced at least me to 2 of his kids I did not know. Do you know the name of all 4 of Tom Hanks' kids? Did you know he had 4 kids?
I know he had a son that looks exactly like him.
Like it. He has 2 sons. I know
Yeah.
his 2 sons, Chet and Colin. I didn't know anything about the other 2, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Stranger Things star came out to his family, and you may not be surprised by what his family said in response. And is it a good thing or a bad thing? I can't even imagine getting the response and hemming and hawing over something like that, and in hearing what he heard from his family. So that's all coming up after Kim's News.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. And we will start it with a picture because Nikki mentioned the damage at Zelda's. And let's take a look at the damage at Zelda's. This is a beam that came from
That's crazy.
The wharf, at the Capitola Wharf, and went straight through the windows. Of course, the wharf snapped in half by massive seas. The beam came through the waterfront windows of Zelda's restaurant in Capitola Village and just did some horrible damage. Here's another picture of the inside of the restaurant. After the windows were smashed, you can see that beam coming in and the
I love that
damage.
place. Oh, it's
really
so
a great
sad.
place. Yeah, it's really a bummer. Unfortunately, we are not done with the storms. They will keep coming. The National Weather Service has issued a flood watch. This is for Saturday morning for the North Bay, expanding to more of Northern California and parts of Central California by Saturday afternoon. The flood watch will continue to be with us through Tuesday. Let's talk a little bit about some storm totals. We've got rain and snow totals kind of impressive around Northern California. New data released today by the National Weather Service shows snow and rain totals for the last 7 days. Sacramento and Elk Grove got between 5 and 7 inches of rain since December 30th. Roseville and Grass Valley, 10 inches, up to 15 inches fell in the Sierra. Heavy rain dumped on the Bay Area, up to 10 inches in Alameda and Sonoma counties. Lake Tahoe saw about 6 feet of new snow accumulate in the last week, and some mountain locations got even more than that. 2 more storms on the way this weekend and early next weekend as well. And again, the National Weather Service issuing another flood watch Saturday through Tuesday. Let's head now to Ukraine, where they will be receiving another round of military aid from the Biden administration. The White House announcing more than $3 billion military aid package today. It includes dozens of Bradley fighting vehicles and other armed personnel carriers. So more money headed to the Ukraine. Technology industry jobs hit hard last year. According to a new report from outplacement services firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, the sector shed more than 97,000 jobs in 2022. Tech layoffs up 649% versus the previous year. I do want to talk to you. I don't know if I have this story. There was last month, let's get a little picture of a chihuahua there. Last month, there was a really sad story where more than 50 chihuahuas were victims of animal cruelty, and Livermore police went to this house and they rescued these dogs. Well, now they're all up for adoption. So they've been cleaned up. They've been checked medically. They've been vaccinated. Most of them moved to the East County Animal Shelter in Dublin. You may find them East County Animal Shelter. Yeah, so East County Animal Shelter in Dublin, the Dublin SPCA, and then the Valley Humane Society. That is where these little guys are located if you would like to give one of them a home.
So sweet. So sweet.
Yeah. So what I wanted to tell you next, I'm kind of discombobulated now. I think that's it.
All right. That works.
I think that's all I got for you.
That works for me. All right. Kim McAllister there with the news. Oh, let's get Team Moscow with some love.
Yeah, this report sponsored by tax attorneys. Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you? That's why I didn't start it yet. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I promised you yesterday that I would tell you about Mayor London Breed, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that's what I wanted to tell you. San Francisco Mayor London Breed, I'll get a picture of her up here for you next. She, last weekend, was saying that San Francisco was unprepared. They had a false sense of security going into New Year's Eve, and that this time they'll be prepared for the next storm.
Oh, for the storm. Okay.
For the most recent storm. She said that she basically said the National Weather Service did her wrong, didn't give enough information, and didn't give the right information. Well, now the National Weather Service is shooting back basically at Mayor London Breed, said, wait a minute, we gave you enough considerable warning, well over a week. In fact, she says, Breed said, we were under the impression by the National Weather Service that we could anticipate not even an inch of rain that weekend. She said that at an emergency press conference. I don't think so. I think the National Weather Service had been saying we've got a big storm coming in the whole time.
Yes, we were talking about it for days.
She said the information we had was not sufficient in helping us prepare in the capacity we needed to respond to this issue. National Weather Service said, hold up, wait a minute. We had alerted local officials and broadcast media as far back as December 21st of a significant rain event that would bring high impacts and hazardous conditions. So they said they even emailed daily briefings to the mayor's office and attended the virtual citywide planning meeting for New Year's Eve. So they even gave a threat level. So they're responding saying, wait a minute, she's blaming them. Not even true. So I just wanted to say that National Weather Service in San Francisco.
That's not a good look, London. That's not a good look at all.
Isn't. They're having a little to do. So that's what I wanted to tell you. Sorry for being so unorganized.
Disorganized in that. Thank you for telling us, because I think she's going to get some backlash on that. So
she should. Well, you don't blame the National Weather Service when it's obvious to everyone who saw all the reports that it's not their fault. Exactly. If you weren't prepared, you weren't prepared.
Exactly.
Like this newscast. This report is sponsored by the National Weather Service. Tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, 888-TAX-DEAL, MoskowitzLLP.com. That is where to go. I'm Kim McAllister. on the Nikki Medoro Show. You can tell it's Friday.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, was it? Somebody posted in the comments and I wanted to bring it up. Oh, where is it? Because we were talking about food and food trends and everything like that. Oh, here it is. Karen. Losing weight while watching Nikki eat shortbread cookies and Mexican food. Good on you, Karen. Keep it up. Yeah, I would be eating one of my very delicious shortbread cookies right now, but I got to finish the show and I get all drooly. Kim, you're way better prepared than San Francisco was for the weather. We were talking about this.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
There's no way in hell that she didn't know. Yeah, exactly. Very good. Channel 7 disproved it, passing the buck. And look, Eric makes a good point about the sandbags. Remember, and I'm sure that you reported on this, they were saying if your home hadn't flooded before, don't get the sandbags because they didn't have enough sandbags. That's a failure of, advising the people that are in charge of it. The mayor should probably just slink away and not try to call out other people. It's not a good look. Yeah. San Francisco City County did not make enough sandbags available. They did not want to respond to flooding in a timely manner whatsoever in the downtown area. It's stupid. Was she really, Kim? Was she in Vegas?
I don't know. I have to check on that.
That'd be funny. She's like, F that. I'm not dealing with the rain. I'm going to go see the Nanas in Vegas. Wow. With E40. Wow. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you guys are kidding or not, but that would be really, really funny if that's where she was. Again, yeah. Open foot, insert mouth. Absolutely. Okay. So let's get into, in the last 15 minutes or so of the show, into some celebrity news. Now, do you know, Kim, and you probably don't, knowing what I know about you and your TV watching, I bet you don't know who Noah Schnapp is. Do you know who Noah Schnapp is? I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture, and then I want you to tell me what show he's on. Ah, damn it. It's like there's help there for you, but.
Well, it says Stranger Things.
Yeah,
so.
I was like, damn it. I forgot that the picture showed it. So he's on Stranger Things, and he just recently came out to his family. Okay. I would show you the video. He made a TikTok video about it, but it has music behind it, so I can't. And this is what he wrote over it. He said, when I finally told my friends and family I was gay after being scared in the closet for 18 years, and all they said was, we know. Yeah. Do you think, and I'm going to say this, and I know I'm sure that we have gay couples or gay people in our chat room. Do you think if you're really engaged with your kid and you're parenting them and you know your kid that you don't know? I mean, do you think that there's a way of not knowing that you're like,
I think that in some cases you can suspect but not know for sure.
Yeah, like don't you think that there's that point? Like you probably like with your spouse or whatever, or your partner or whomever, you're like, I'm getting a sneaking suspicion that
getting the vibe. You never know. Yeah. I don't know. I think in some cases you can not know but suspect. So maybe that's where they are. But then in some cases it's absolutely obvious. My husband's sister came out. And
okay.
They called everyone. They had she brought her girlfriend, now wife, to a big family event in Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. And she introduced her as her girlfriend.
Right.
And no one batted an eyelash. And she said, no, this is my girlfriend.
Girlfriend, yes.
Like my girlfriend. Still no reaction. And she goes, you guys, this is my girlfriend.
We make out.
And they looked at her and they're like, and? Like, we've known it for a really long time. Even if you haven't said it, there's absolutely no big deal.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. I love N-Star's rights. It would be a better world when coming out isn't a big deal anymore. I mean, and whenever I think about like people coming out and being in the closet and then their family like knowing, I like those stories so much because that's how it is. It should be anytime. Like, so if it was an opposite sex couple and your kid comes home and says, I like this girl. It's not like we need to have a sit down conversation with the whole family about it. You're like, all right, tell us about him or her. Right. But for obviously there's still a large segment of the population that doesn't feel so comfortable. I'm just always wondering. So like with my husband, and he might kill me but it's a well-known story, whatever. He's just an eclectic kind of kid. And so when he was really, really young, not even like puberty age, but really, really young, my mother-in-law always told the stories like, he has not a flamboyant style, but he doesn't care about how he's dressing or whatever. Like, and believe me, my husband is not. But just one of those things where the parents just sit there and they're like, what if he was? And having that conversation about would we have a problem with it? And if you're a good parent,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have any issue with it, in my opinion.
We've had the conversation at my house, you know.
Well, I mean, like just for instance, if the possibility or the hint. Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, Jacob's a really good dancer. And sometimes it's like, jury's still out, but it doesn't matter one way or the other. I'll let you know how it
just
pans
because you're a
out.
good dancer that you are. I mean, those are like obviously stereotypical, but again,
the kid's got some moves, Nikki. I'm telling you. The moves.
Got moves like Jagger or what? You never know. You never know.
And sometimes I'm like, what's going on with you, pal? But you know, that's fine. Whatever works out, I'm gonna love that little
anyway,
boy.
just bring up.
Yeah.
I always tell my kids the same thing. As long as you treat them nice and they treat you nice and you're happy, I'm happy. And that's
We'll
all
see
that
how it
matters.
goes.
Exactly. All right. Well, there are conversations that you need to have. Some are tougher than others. And sometimes when you're talking about, I don't know, paying your taxes or dealing with the IRS, you want someone to have that conversation for you. You don't want to be the one sitting at the table necessarily across from the IRS and being like, eek, I don't know what I'm doing. So you have to give one person a call. And we all know who that is. Our friend, tax attorney, is Steve Moskowitz with Moskowitz LLP. And Steve, what I love about you, one of the many things, is that if I get a call or a letter from the IRS, I'd be like, you're going to have to talk to my people. And by people, I mean Steve Moskowitz. I don't want to talk.
That's right. And in almost all cases, we can talk to the IRS for you. You don't have to talk to them, deal with them, have anything to do with them. And let's face it, dealing with them is like a heavyweight boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody but another heavyweight professional boxer better get in the ring with another heavyweight professional boxer.
Right.
We've dedicated our professional careers to tax. And just like I would expect a medical doctor to know 1,000,000 times more about medicine than I do, that's why we rely on people like a doctor if you have a medical problem. And the bottom line is we're here to take care of your problems. And again, like that medical doctor, like most things, if we deal with the problem early on when it's smaller, it's better. Well, like a doctor, you can come in on the day before you drop dead. He'll still treat you and do everything he or she can to help you. But the doctor will say, you know, it would have been better or we had to do less stuff if you'd come in when you had that first pain rather than now that you're being carried in.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same with us. And there's so many different things we may be able to do for you.
So talk about that a little bit, Steve, because when people see tax attorney, they're like, I need an attorney. There has to be a problem with my taxes. But you guys do so many things at your company.
That's right. For example, a lot of people say to me, Steve, do you do regular tax returns? And remember, I was a CPA before I was a tax attorney. Yes, we do regular tax returns. It doesn't have to be a problem. You don't have to owe, but we don't do them in the regular way. We go ahead and we search, is there any deduction you're overlooking? Is there any advantage you can take? And a lot of times there are things. So the bottom line is, yes, we do regular tax returns, all kinds of business advice, and we have things in different departments, like we have an estate planning department, like we have a department to do other things like HR, where we have HR professionals come in. And most small businesses need all these services and they suffer if they don't have them, but they don't need them full time.
Right.
So the bottom line is we can provide what they need at the fraction of a cost if they had to hire a full-time person. And there's multiple things. You'd have to hire multiple people and that gets really expensive. Instead, we can handle that for you.
I love it. I love it. You're like a one-stop shop for people with all sorts of problems. So give Steve a call. I'm sure there's a problem that he can resolve for you. So 888 tax deal is the number. His website, MoskowitzLLP.com. Again, write this down, 888 tax deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
Stay
guys.
dry. Thanks. Bye. So yeah, give him a call. 888 tax deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. Okay, so let me read a couple of comments. We were talking about Noah Shep from Stranger Things coming out as gay, and his family's like, yeah, we knew. There's some good comments. Lori wrote in the late 80s, my brother asked me to tell our parents for him. He had been in denial with a lot of suppressed anger for years. My mom said she knew all along. Neither of us believed her. Interesting, Lori. She went on to write, my dad, a pediatrician, looked at it as a choice, sad when you're choosing a harder life for yourself, but eventually realized the truth and was always trying to be supportive. That's the thing. It's this narrative of as if you can choose, as if you sat down, you're like, what do I want to be? When if you just flip it to heterosexual people, like, tell me the day on the calendar that you decided. They'll say, I didn't. I just knew. I just wish people understood that. Who else? Karen wrote in. A friend in college came out to me about a year after I met him. I knew he was gay, but he never made a big deal about it. But his family disowned him because of it. Like, I just don't understand how you can, just disown your child like that, as if your ideology or something is more important than the relationship you have with your child. It's really sad. And I can't wait for the day where it's just like yawn. Like, if I came home and I was like, I'm in love with my husband, it's like, well, I would hope so. Right. It's just, you just really want to get there. We're not there yet, sadly. I think we're getting better. I really, really do. Oh, on this note, I almost forgot to play it. Where is it? So did you see Pete Buttigieg take on Brett Baer? Where is it? It was so freaking good. And it goes with what we're saying right here.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay. Watch this. Watch Brett Baer. And they ask these questions and they never want to be called out on it. And I'm so glad Pete Buttigieg, again, one of, I would say, the best speakers and debaters. And he has such a great political career ahead of him. But listen to how he responds to Brett Baer's question right here.
You also brought your husband, Chasten, on a military aircraft to attend a sporting event in Netherlands. Was that
That's quite a spin to put on.
No. But was that reimbursed? Because that was one of the controversies with the price.
I led a presidential delegation to support American wounded warriors and injured service members, the Invictus Games, as has been tradition for many years. I led the American delegation. It was one of the great honors of my time in this job. And the diplomatic protocol on a presidential delegation is that the principal is often accompanied by their spouse. It was a great trip. It was incredible. It was also a few weeks into the Ukraine war. So we had a chance at the U.S. Embassy to engage with the Ukrainian competitors, also wounded service members. Some of them went from the games back to the battlefield to fight for their country. I also took the opportunity to sit with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands to look at port infrastructure, Dutch port infrastructure. But here's what I want you to understand. Before me, it was the Secretary of the Army under President Trump who took that trip with his wife. Before that, it was Mrs. Trump as First Lady who went to the Invictus Games. Before that, Mrs. Obama did the same thing.
Sure.
And I guess the question on my mind is, if no one's raising questions about why Secretary Esper and his wife led that delegation, and as well they should have, then why is it any different when it's me and my husband?
Understood.
Shut the hell up, Brett. Like, I mean, he is so good, Pete Buttigieg. I swear, I love him.
Yeah.
Every time I hear him speak, I'm like, get him. Yes. But that just going along with what we were talking about coming out and kind of there being this different view of relationships and who you are. I love that Pete Buttigieg has become this face of, look, I have a husband. We have 2 adopted children. This is America, people. This is America. Get used to it.
Don't even start with Pete Buttigieg.
He's
You're
so good.
not going to win any debate that you enter into with him. He's just not going to. He's just too good.
Yeah. I love him. Okay. One more person that I absolutely love is Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks has 4 children. And I say this because I only know 2. I only knew 2. But he was weighing in on this debate over nepotism babies. We talked about this earlier, about how children born to celebrities, let's say, their accomplishments are often diminished because, you only got that role because you're so-and-so's daughter or son or what have you. So listen to what Tom Hanks had to say. Oh, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Here is Tom Hanks talking about Nepo babies.
Look, this is the family business. This is what we've been doing forever. It's what all of our kids grew up in. We have 4 kids. They're all very creative. They're all involved in some brand of storytelling. And if we were a plumbing supply business, or if we ran, the florist shop down the street, the whole family would be putting in time at some point, even if it was just, inventory at the end of the year. The thing that doesn't change no matter what happens, no matter what your last name is whether it works or not. I mean, that's the issue anytime any of us go off and try try to tell a fresh story or create something that has a beginning and a middle of an end. Doesn't matter what our last names are. We have to do the work in order to make that a true and authentic experience for the audience. And that's a much bigger task than worrying about whether anybody's going to try to scathe us or not.
Okay, so that's Colin Hanks, who looks just like Tom Hanks. You're absolutely right, CR. Now, I also showed you this picture. Hold on. Where is he? There he is. That's Chet Hanks. Remember, he's like the rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and sometimes he can be a bit of a troll or whatever, but
Yeah,
so that's
look at
Chet.
that guy.
I know. Well, he's okay. I think that his attitude and kind of his social media presence brings down his hotness. He's a decent looking guy, though. I'm not going to knock it. But Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have 2 other children. Truman Hanks. I've never heard of Truman Hanks. There he is.
Okay.
That's Truman Hanks. And then Elizabeth Hanks. There she is. No idea. And they are in the family business. So let's see. Elizabeth Hanks is an actress and producer known for Forrest Gump, where she was the school bus girl. That Thing You Do, which also Tom Hanks was in, and Anchorage, which came out in 2015. Truman Hanks is known for being on Black Widow, Wrath of Man, and West Side Story.
He looks familiar to me.
Does he? I
Yeah.
mean, let me show his picture again. There we go. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to see him in a movie and then know. But yeah, I mean, there's no mistaking that's Tom Hanks' son. Colin.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks exactly like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, but and I think that what Tom Hanks said is an excellent point. If it was a plumbing company, right? Nobody would say, oh, it's nepotism that your child works there. Or any other type of family business. And the fact that your dad is an amazing actor and your mom is an amazing actress, of course, you're probably going to want to get into the family business. And so if there was a family I'd want to be, that must be a fun family, I think, to be a part of. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. And she raps all the time. So I think that's where Chet gets it from, which is so, so funny. I think there was some recent award thing that George Clooney got an award at and she spoke at, and she just opened up rapping. Rita Wilson loves to rap. It is hilarious.
I did not know that about her. That's so funny.
Oh, Google it. She raps all of the time and it's hilarious. I mean, and she does a really good job. She does it straight. Like she's rapping. And so I think that's where Chet gets it, which is really, really, truly funny. So so nepotism. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of nepotism and all kind of family businesses. And if you're not going to call out, like the Trump family or things like that, then I think you could be gone with all of that nonsense. All right. So coming up next week, of course, hopefully we'll have a speaker. I hope it's not Kevin McCarthy. I saw this meme and I wanted to throw this up real quickly. For the love of God, you don't have the votes.
For the love of God.
You don't have it. We'll see if he gets it. I mean, that could happen. That absolutely could happen. Oh, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Ugh, I don't want to see his smug face. OMG from Andreas, $50 today in the super chat. Another 50, another 20.
You.
Oh
Wow.
my God. Andreas, you have been so
nice.
very generous, and I appreciate every single one of you that's in the chat and throwing money our way. I love all the super stickers. Michelle Carter, $2. Jim Slayton, happy birthday one more time.
Happy birthday, Jim.
And you gave us $50 for your birthday. I absolutely love you. Again,
I know.
You're giving us gifts.
What are we giving you?
Well, hopefully a good time and an amazing show for the day. Again, if you are one of our Patreon subscribers, as you should, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, become a Patreon subscriber, and try out my shortbread cookie recipe. Kim McAllister, you should go make these when you get off air. Yes, happy birthday, Jim Slayton.
I want to, and I want to put chocolate chips in them.
What the hell? It's a shortbread cookie. It's not a chocolate chip cookie.
No, there's a shortbread company in, I believe, Washington or Oregon that puts chocolate chips in their shortbread, and it's so good.
You can add anything you want to it, in all honesty.
Will you give me the recipe? Do I have to become a Patreon
I'll
subscriber?
send it to you. I'll give it to you, but you only.
I support the show. I love the show.
I would say that, yeah, you're a huge supporter of the show. Absolutely. But for the rest of you, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Patreon link is there. These are the types of videos I'm going to be doing, some exclusive content for those that are subscribers every month. PayPal, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. Love it, love it, love it to all of you. And pick up some merchandise. Send me a picture once you get your merchandise. The Nikki Medoro Shop.com is a great way. Yeah, basically just eat a stick of butter. There's 2 sticks of butter in my cookies. Now, if that's not delicious, I just don't know what is. Okay, well, I know. Every snack should have some chalk in it.
That's right.
Maybe. I'm not a huge chocolate person, but these are delicious. So check out the Patreon, make the recipe. Let me know if it turns out for you as well. Have a fabulous weekend, guys, and we'll talk on Monday. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You sprout like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.